Okay, looks like we're live. And we'll just wait until the top of the hour before we start the show today. Excellent. We got some curd nerds turning up. Fantastic news. Welcome everybody so far. Got Russell, just me, Haley, I think, Enrique, Simon. No questions just yet, guys. You won't get them answered because they'll scroll past. Danny, how are you, Danny? Thanks, Russell. My pleasure, mate. Can you hear me all right? Can somebody shout out that the audio's okay this time and no crickets? Ah, the whiplash. Audio is okay. Great. All right. Fantastic. Wait till a few more come on. Like I said, I'll start on the hour. I won't start before because that's when I've got it scheduled. Okay. Fans from Algeria. Thank you. Fariza. I think that's how you say your name. You're a great man. I try to be. All right. Gonzalo. Hello. How are you? How's Action Bar Bastard? How's the weather down there? Well, it's a bit freezing cold at the moment. Not freezing, it's about 4 degrees Celsius. That's not freezing cold for anybody in the Northern Hemisphere. But Sandy, how are you? Adam, well done, Canada, Indiana. Good to see you get people from everywhere. Now, what's the time? Not time yet. Get some more peeps on. I suck at gaming. Hello again. I'll just hang on. I'll just get something. Where's my iPad? Where's my iPad? Was it? Oh, bad luck. I'm going to put some music in the background. Bad luck. Oh, back again. Hello from Poland. Hello, Kuba Kuba. Tracy, how are you? Sandy is making what? Mozzarella. So we've got 40 people watching at the moment, which is fantastic. Ah, the mighty random word. Ah, Sweden. How are you? Is there a cheese making kit for halloumi? Yes, well, there is. I haven't started the questions yet, but we'll still do an. Can you say gouda or gouda? There you go. How's that, Sander? Did I get it right? Hello from the Netherlands. Okay, okay. The YouTube notification's just gone out to everybody. So all you early birds, favourite cheese? I don't know. I was trying a nice Camembert last night. It was lovely. Hello from Ireland, Paddy. How are you? I don't know how to say that correctly. Is it ear? I know it's in Celtic, Gaelic. Hope I don't offend anybody. Oh, it was right. Oh, excellent. Thanks, Sander. How old were you when you first made cheese? Oh, actually, I will tell that story this week. I've been holding off, haven't I? So I'll do an opening intro. So it is now 8 o'clock We've got 43 people online. Air. Got 47 online, so that'll do. Now, before we start, thank you, Curd Nerds, for turning up. Thanks, Julian. I've got my Blessed of the Cheesecake, so I'm blessing you all. We have a moderator on today due to last week's shenanigans, and it's my lovely wife, Kim. So if Kim, you can introduce yourself in the chat there, that would be lovely. And then we'll jump into the questions. So anybody that comes on silly, then Kim will sort them out. Oh, there she is. She's just popped up in the chat. Lovely. Okay. So the first question, I think, way back was, is there a cheese kit for halloumi? Yes, there is. We stock it. It's called the Mad Millie Fresh Cheese Kit. And I've just lowered the price on it. So not to be a plug or anything, but the question was asked, so I'll answer it. Okay, we'll get stuck into it. Where are we? First one from Simon. How old was I when I first started making cheese? I was about 40 something. It was back in 2009 I first learnt to make cheese. I went on a cheese making course as part of my green living campaign to lower our footprint on the world. So basically, I wanted to make everything that I possibly could, and I wanted to make sure that we knew what ingredients were in our food. So I went to a cheese making course run by these two lovely ladies called Dorothy and Lorraine, and they must have been about 70 something. And they taught us how to make cheese. So the cheese I chose to make during that course, because you could choose just about any cheese in the 6 hour course and hopefully make it. I learnt how to make feta. Feta was the first cheese I ever learnt to make, and they actually taught us how to torture the cheese, because what they did to press it in the amount of time that they had available, what they did, they used a car jack. I had a car jack on a frame upside down, and they wound the car jack and pressed the cheese. So they squeezed the living life out of the cheese. Anyway, when I took the feta home and I marinated it in brine, they told us the instructions on how to do all that. And yeah, that was quite good. Um, so, yeah. So I was hooked ever since, and I started making cheese every Friday night as a hobby. But I didn't start the first cheese making video I made was in 2010, I think it was about a minute long, and all it was me behind a camera, showing everybody how I sanitized on my gear. And then from there, I think the first actual cheese making video that I made was kefili, and I did it in 3 parts or something. So I've since modified it since then. So look, that's a bit of background. I started teaching cheese making workshops in about 2011 after 2 years experience, just some basic cheese. I think I taught mozzarella was the first one, quick mozzarella. And that was great fun. We got about 8 students in the first class. They loved it. And from there, I was just hooked on teaching. You know, I had taught as a naval instructor when I was in the Royal Australian Navy I was in the Navy for 20 years, but I was an instructor for about 6 of those years. So I had a lot of experience. That's probably, you can see that coming out in the videos, that I know how to convey an idea to people. So anyway, thanks for that question. Probably got about 20,000 more. Kim's in there moderating, telling people with links on where to get stuff. I live in, let's have Mickey D. I live in Tasmania and have a great storage under house, but worry the cheese will get too cold. I don't have a fridge yet. How will I go? Well, it depends on how cold it gets. If it drops down to 4 degrees, the cultures will go dormant. And then as the temperature rises again up to 13 odd, I wouldn't, if the temperature's above 15 degrees, I would get myself a cheese fridge as quick as you can. Okay, everybody's saying hello, Kim. Oh, that's good. Sandy says, try to make mozzarella the other night and ended up looking like some form of soft cheese. What happens? Sandy, it depends on the milk. If you can get unpasteurized, sorry, not unpasteurized. Well, if you can get raw milk, that's fantastic. But if you can get unpasteurized, unhomogenized milk, and avoid putting in the calcium chloride, then you'll actually get a very firm curd set, and you'll actually get a better stretch, and it'll actually form a lot better. Are you using? I'll have to check the question, but did you? Were you making the quick mozzarella? Is the question I'm looking for. So have a look at that. Danny said, I'm getting my cheesecake finished today. I was thinking of making my first batch that matures. Any suggestion for an easy cheese for maturation? Quickest cheese I can think of is Caerphilly. It's a fairly salty cheese, but it has a lovely creamy paste in the middle. Only takes 3 weeks to mature, and it has a natural rind. So, Danny, give that a go. Description to the store link. Kim, if you could please do that, that would be fabulous. And then, so what's the hardest cheese I've ever made to date? Or hardest as in difficult, Dakota? Most difficult cheese, provolone. I'll put it out there. It was a real nightmare to try and get those curds to stretch. It was frustrating. Um, but the hardest, as in knock knock hard, would be one of the first parmesans I made. I didn't wax it. I didn't backpack it. And it dried out in my little cheese fridge, and it was hard as a rock. You couldn't bite into it. That's how hard it was. So yeah, it was a bit ordinary. Quentin says, "What is a good starter cheese to make?" Look, I did a video on beginners cheeses to start with without a fridge. So I think it goes something like this: paneer, ricotta salata. You could throw in halloumi there as well. That was really simple. And then move on to some of the more difficult ones there. Philip asks, what's the difference between Stilton and Roquefort? Stilton's made with cow's milk and has extra cream added to it. Roquefort is made with sheep's milk and doesn't have any cream added to it because sheep's milk has quite a high fat content. So that's the answer to that. What do we got here? What's it like to be a god? A cheese god? Taking them a stride. What's the difference in the end product if you use vegetarian rennet? Not a lot, really. I use microbial rennet. Vegetarian rennets, pure vegetarian rennets made from cardoon thistle, and there's other few bits and bobs you can make proper vegetarian rennet out of. Sometimes I don't set the curd as well. Look, I know a cheesemaker in Edmonton in Canada, Ian, who writes over at Much to Do About Cheese. He's got a blog. It's pretty cool. Check that out. And he went from a home cheese maker like me and went full pro, and has his own creamery, makes his own cheese now for the marketplace. Had to go through a lot of regulations and stuff. So that's cool. Well, hello from Brazil. Made Decays and it is now air drying. It seems a bit slimy. Is that normal? Look, just wash it down with some brine solution, Felipe. I think that's how you say your name. And then you can wax it if you want. It's probably a good idea. It does tend to get a little bit in the first few days. It gets a little bit slimy, so just give it a wash with some brine solution and a soft cloth. Way behind here. Let's go. There's so many comments, guys, that if you want to pin one to the top, you could use a super chat and I'll get it straight away. But otherwise, I'm just picking. Joy says, hi, thank you much for the videos. It's how I learned to make cheese today. I made manchego, my 39th ageable cheese. I have the choice to use sharp or milk lipase. I would use the sharp for manchego. It's very nice. I did that. and it turned out very nice. If you use cow's milk, you kind of got to. And a manchego is usually made with sheep's milk, but yeah, need to add that lipase. Enjoy. Cheese making I bought recommended making a starter culture. Look, I always use DVI or direct vat inoculated cultures. A lot less mucking around. The older cheese kits, really old ones, would have said make a starter, a mother culture, and then you freeze that mother culture and just pop it into ice blocks and stuff like that. Um, Anyway, so yeah, I hope to answer. Can you age Camembert in the normal fridge? Yes, you can, Coleman. It'll just take a lot slower to make the fuzz grow. Because normally it goes at 7 degrees Celsius, so 4 degrees won't be too much of a push. What should I do if I don't have a cheese cave? Putrid Peter. Go watch the video that's titled Beginners Cheeses Without a Cheese Cave. Go and have a look at that video and you'll see everything that you need to know. Staniel does boot. Could you make a video like combining cheeses like Monterey Jack, Colby Jack? Yeah, it's on the plans. I've got it on my list to do. I was going to make a Colby Jack, which it'll be a yellow and whitish marbled sort of cheese, or maybe a cheddar romano or something like that. But it'll look nice. I'm thinking about it. Tracy, do you need any extra steps if using raw milk? Yeah, you need to take a few away. So you won't need as much rennet. You could probably reduce it by 10%. That would be safe. You don't need the calcium chloride. Depends on your source of milk, Tracy. So, yeah, it depends on your source of milk, Tracy, and if you need to pasteurize it or not. If you need to pasteurize it, use the low temperature long hold method. Dave, apologise if there's been. Can you make Decays with buttermilk? No, you can't make anything with buttermilk. Buttermilk is basically a cultured milk. You can use it as a starter, mesophilic starter culture, but you can't make cheese out of buttermilk. You can use it as a starter culture. Captain Nibley, I had half a block of beeswax and a new block of combined them. Yeah, look, there's no reason why you can't do that. That'll work. Bought some store milk, no fresh cows around. Yeah, so Sandy, um, some store milks are ultra pasteurized, so you'll probably have an issue. Just check. It should say normal pasteurizer. If it's ultra pasteurized, it usually should say it. If not, try a different type of milk. It's usually the milk with mozzarella every time. So many students have the same issue. Kitty Cat, hello. Um, Keep on making cheese. Thank you very much. Nishkala. Um, Jonathan, want to let know you inspired me to go back to basics, start making cheese again. Oh, thanks very much. Kim's banned somebody, obviously. You've made what first made you want to make your own cheese? I've already gone through that story. You might have been a bit late to the thing. It was because I wanted to know what was in my food and I was starting to live a more greener lifestyle. Where are we? Hi, Gavin, in Canada, beginner cheese kits are $75. Is that reasonable? Look, if it's a hard cheese kit, yeah, it's very reasonable. The ones we have here retail for it's about $98 Australian. That's the hard cheese kit. But for a starter one like mozzarella or ricotta, I would only expect to pay about $45. That's what we've got here, Australian. I think Canadian dollars on par with the Aussie dollar. Um, yes. How many times should I fold a cheesecloth? If it's a loose weave cheesecloth, I don't fold it at all. If it's a tight weave one, I don't fold it at all. Use the right cheesecloth for the right type of cheese. So for soft cheese making, then I would use a tight weave cheesecloth. Don't need to fold it. The weave of the knit is so tight that your cheese won't go through it. And if you're using a cooked curd cheese, any hard or semi-hard cheeses, just use a normal um, a loose weave cheesecloth that you can actually see through. I think I did a demo on simple cheese making equipment. So hopefully that answers your question. Too much coffee too fast. I need a drink of water. Good morning, Drew. Just me. Do you sell cheeses? No. There's a big difference between making cheeses at home and making cheeses commercially. There are a lot of regulations that you have to adhere to and pass and be inspected to be able to make your own cheeses. What is the easiest cheese to make? I would say sweet ricotta or whole milk ricotta is easiest. Heat the milk up to 95 degrees Celsius, which is about 195 Fahrenheit. Adding quarter cup of vinegar and bingo boingo, you got ricotta, and then you just drain it. Only have access to homogenized and pasteurized. Look, you can use that as a pinch, at a pinch, and add calcium chloride. It'll strengthen the curd, and you'll get a decent set. What's your favourite food pairing with cheese? Normally, in the evening for supper, we'll have a little bit of cheese, only a little bit, and we pair it with an apple. So we have a freshly cut apple and some crackers. That's a lovely pairing. Look, I like quince paste is beautiful with on a cheese board. So dried muscatel grapes, they're fantastic. Even dried apricots. So they all flavours that complement a good cheese platter. But actually making food with cheese, there are so many recipes out there, guys. Just go to somewhere like taste.com or whatever your favourite recipe website is. How tall am I? 173. Well, we're doing a police lineup, are we? What would you say about cheese as a college student in a dorm room? Fresh cheeses, Mr. Steve-O. Fresh cheeses are the best way to go when you haven't got a fridge and that's all you've got in your dorm room. As long as you've got access to a sink. Demetrius, hello from Greece. How are you? Constantine, do you know any reputable culture ferment suppliers in the EU? It's sold in almost every pharmacy in Sweden, but cultures are a pain to find. Look, to get around that, probably the best thing to do is see if you can get your hands on some kefir grains or kefir grains, and grab yourself a book called, probably gone out of focus. Grab yourself this book if you're half decent reading it English. Art of Natural Cheese Making by David Asher, and he describes how to make cheese without culture and just use kefir grains as kulfas. So that's all pretty good. How long have you made cheese for? Since 2009. Gavin, I'm a vegan, miss eating cheese, particularly delicious ones. Can you suggest a vegan alternative? FLX6, yes. There is actually a vegan cheese making kit on the market by Mad Millie. We're about to purchase some for the store in my next order, and I'm going to make some cheeses from that kit. I think it uses cashew nuts. I've seen a demo of cashew nuts. They make a halloumi out of cashews, add a few bits and bobs to it to make it firm. So that'll be very interesting. I'll give it a couple of, I'll give some a go, just for the vegans out there. I know you like that kind of thing. It'd be great. In fact, I like it, so why not? Is there any cheese I don't like? Chef excellence. I would say, so hard. The one I made that I didn't like particularly was St. Marcelin, but I think I over-ripened them. They were a bit woofy, they smelt a bit and they tasted a bit acidic. So, but that was my own cheese. But I've eaten everything else just about. Don't put in the thing about casu marzu. Don't. Nobody put that in today. I wouldn't eat that if you paid me to. I said your name right. Thank you very much. Nishkala. See, I said it again. Top of the morning to you, Captain Sporting. Sorry I'm late, but do you sell your what do you set your cheese press at for Parmesan? Max pressure, about 50 pounds on my cheese press anyway. As much pressure as I can get on it. When you first press it, because it's cooked at such a highest temperature, just make sure when you're pressing it that the whey is running clear. If it's running cloudy, you're pressing it too hard. How long do I have to make ricotta out of whey? I know it is. Okay, look, really, if you want to get the full proteins out of the whey, it should be within 3 hours. You can refrigerate it overnight, but it doesn't make the ricotta as creamy. It goes a bit rubbery. Are your headaches improving? Yes, I'm actually. Thank you, Isaka Gaming, for remembering that. I am off the medication, so all those medications the neurologist put me on, and I don't have daily headaches anymore. Thank you very much for asking. Um, do you have any plans to buy your own cow? Drew, unfortunately not. If I could find a farmer that would do cow share, and is such a thing, that you buy a share of a cow and you get a portion of the milk, you can do that. That's no problems at all. But around here, there's no, in my town anyway, it's more suburban than anything else. And I just don't have the room, obviously. If I had a bit more room, it'd be great. I could get a goat at least. But no cows. Good night, Sandy. Um, can you compost failed cheese projects? Probably best not. I give mine to the chooks. And chooks in Australia are chickens, sorry, hens. So any failed cheese projects, the hens get them and they eat them. I wouldn't put it in compost because you probably start attracting things like rats and mice and stuff like that because it's got too much. It's an animal fat. Not a question, just wanted to, oh, thank you very much. So that's, oh, I can't say your name. Thiman? Oh, sorry. Can't say it. Renan says, what's the most difficult kind of cheese to make? Look, in my experience, it's pasta filata cheeses, but that's just because I haven't got the knack of it. All the rest are fairly straightforward. If you can follow a cooking recipe, you can follow a cheese recipe usually. Just going to make sure sanitization, guys and girls. Sanitization is the key to all good cheese making. Make sure that you boil all your stainless steel equipment first for at least 15 minutes in a pot of hot water, boiling water, and that you either squirt all the plastic stuff with white vinegar. That's what I use, and that'll kill any molds or bacteria. You don't want to get any infections. And make sure the place you're making the cheese, so all the bench tops and all the stove and everything, I spray down with white vinegar and then clean that off, and make sure that there's not going to be any cross contamination. I've had to skip ahead a bit. Other acids to avoid vinegar flavour, lemon juice. Yes, you can use lemon juice or citric acid, powdered citric acid, Bob. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. NKY, is there an easy way to clean a cheesecloth? There is a very easy way. All I do is just rinse it in the sink after it's come out of the mould or whatever I've used it for, and then I pop it into my front loader washing machine for 30 minutes on a cold wash with no detergent at all. And then in the, what's it called, the fabric softener section, we fill that up with white vinegar. So in the final rinse, the vinegar goes into it and it cleans it, and then we just hang it in the laundry or hang it out in the sun. And they're perfect. And then next time, just boil them again when you boil all your gear. That's the best way. Difference between culture and direct vat set. Wobbly Bob, good question. A mother culture you have to make up beforehand. You actually kind of make it like yogurt. You have to inoculate it, keep it warm, all that sort of stuff. Direct vat sat, it's already been direct vat inoculated or set, has been done for you, and it's freeze dried, comes in little sachets. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Do you have any interest in making butter or yogurt? Well, I've already made yogurt. There's a yogurt video up. There's 2 yogurt videos. There's one for tangy yogurt made with milk, and there's even a soy yogurt video. So go and check them out. Action Bastard. Butter. Look, it's so simple. Just put cream in a jar and shake it, and you'll get butter. It's a great one for the kids. If you can get a plastic jar, and you just get them, and they'll walk around the house for hours, shaking this jar, and by the end of it, you'll have butter. That's the easiest way to make butter. Add a bit of salt to it, and press it. Squish it. Get some of the buttermilk out of it. Carlos, greetings from Spain. Just want to say you're an awesome cheese man. Thank you, mate. Gabby, you have you developed a cheese recipe of your own? Yes, there is one that I've made myself. It's called Petit Bleu, which is small blue cheese. Go and check that recipe out. It's on the channel somewhere. Sun Arrow, how are you? It's good to see you here. Blaze Fox, how many cheeses have I made? Well, ones I've got proof that I've made are on the video. So there's about 120 of them, I think. So you could check those out. I've probably made, oh look, I'd say I couldn't guess, over 200. Um, but yeah, the ones I've got on video are all evidenced anyway. Staniel, would you have or have you made any cheeses using butter, both goat and cow's cheese? Look, you could. If you didn't have enough goat's milk to make a full feta or something like that, you can just use. You can use the majority of it. Use cow's milk, and then hang on. So majority of it use cow's milk. So about 80% cow's milk, about 20% goat's milk, and that way you don't have to add lipase to anything. Same as if you're making Parmigiano Romano. If you don't have lipase, add a bit of goat's milk in. That has naturally occurring lipase, so that's all pretty good. Whey protein is good for the chooks. Yes, it is, kitty cat. Have you had Rachel, the cheese, or Epoise? I can't even say that, chef. No, I haven't had either of those cheeses. I'll have to look them up. Captain Spaulding, do you prefer tablet or liquid rennet? Actually, I prefer liquid rennet. It's more accurate. You can measure it a lot easier. Sometimes tablets are hit and miss. Depends on the brand of them. I've recently started using the Mad Millie tablets. I use Fromage's 50 normally for some of the soft cheeses and some of the hard cheeses. They're okay because I know that a quarter of those tablets equal 12 and a half litres of milk you can set. So that's pretty accurate. And a half is 25 litres. Not that I've ever made a 25-litre cheese. The Mad Millie ones, each tablet only does 4 litres of milk or 1 gallon. So that's a bit ordinary. Have to use more tablets. I think they've got a bit of calcium in the tablets as well, so that probably help with the set. Sano, what is the cheese that has cherries in it and is the other way blue cheese flavour with mold because I'm allergic to penicillin? You can actually make a cheese called a white Stilton, and with white Stilton, it's the same as a blue Stilton without the blue. So you don't put Penicillium roqueforti in there. And you can actually add fruit and all that sort of stuff to it, dried fruit. So it's pretty good. Thanks, Kim, for that link for the soy yogurt. Have you seen All American autoclaves? No, I haven't. I've seen autoclaves in the dentist where they put all the dentist stainless steel stuff in. Yes, that would be overkill. Look, just simply boiling it. It's no hassle. 15 minutes, guys, in the same pot that um you're going to make the cheese in, and then tip out the water, pull the utensils out. You would have seen me doing that in the halloumi video last weekend that I put up. John asks, are fresh or dried herbs better for adding to the curds before hooping? Should dry be reconstituted first, maybe to sterilize? Yes, look, the best way to do it, use dried herbs because, well, they're dry. And yeah, and spices as well. So things like dried chilies, that sort of stuff, sage. So all I do is I have a little pot, a very small pot, and I put in a cup of water and I put in whatever the herbs says on the recipe, basically, and you gently simmer that for 15 minutes and you'll see the water changes color as well, and reconstitutes those herbs. And basically what you do then is you can put the water into the milk before you heat it up, and that'll give it a little bit of flavour as well. But the herbs go in at the milling stage, so just before you, when depends on the cheese, but just before you pack it into the mould. Or if you're making a soft cheese, then like chev, then pop it into just as you're adding the salt in at the end, that sort of stuff, or cream cheese, same sort of thing. Okay, Jaw from Ecuador. I keep messing up my blue cheese. Is it possible that using buffalo milk is the reason? Depends on what you mean by messing up. That's not enough information. Buffalo milk just has a higher fat content. Uh, it shouldn't be the milk. You can make blue cheese buffalo. I've seen it. No problems at all. So you have to give me more details. Shoot me an email. Go to the channel. Go to the About tab, and you'll see how to contact me via email. Send me an email, Jaw from Ecuador, and we'll try and diagnose it for you. How's that sound? Free of charge. Um, have you eaten Swedish Bottensost or priest cheese? No, I have not. I would say they probably sound like Trappist cheeses. Are they washed rind? I don't know. Son Aaron, good to see you. Love your windows. Love your videos. Sorry, you've inspired me. Bad spelling. That's okay. Munster. Am I going to make more? Well, I made 2 batches of Munster, and they kind of didn't go to plan. But I think it was my Brevibacteria linens wasn't quite right. And my lack of maintenance in the Cheesecakes is appalling. So sometimes I forget them for about 2 weeks and they go a bit funny. So that's because I got so much on the go cheese wise. Anyway, what's my favourite nuance to cheese? Tart, creamy, rich, etc. I like, look, honestly, I like all of them. So I like a sharp cheddar. I like a creamy brie. I like a rich flavored Romano, which is and piquant. Um, the great thing the great thing about cheese making is the range that you can get from one ingredient, milk. It's just amazing. You can go all the way from fresh, soft cheese all the way up to the most sharpest cheese that you can get. Um, okay, what have we got? Andy, getting 2 to 3 gallons of raw milk from Jersey Dairy this week. What is the best cheese to make with? I've already made Havarti, Gouda, and cheddar. Um, ooh, that's a good one. Have a go at Romano with. I'll tell you what, with raw milk, it'll be amazing. Give Romano a go. See if you can. I think I've got an 8 litre recipe. You could probably scale it up to 10 litres, which is 2.5 gallons. 3 gallons is 12 litres of milk. Just add a little bit more starter culture, a little bit more rennet. You shouldn't have too much troubles. But try Romano. I know it's going to take about 10 months to mature, Andy, but I tell you what, one of my lights went off. 10 months to mature, but it is well worth it. It's an amazing cheese. Chat on the side looks bad. Oh, don't know about that. It'll get better once it goes live on the other live. I love blue cheese. Do you have a recipe for a strong cheese? Kevin, yeah, have a look. Stilton, there's a Stilton video there somewhere, so you can go and check that out. That's a lovely strong cheese. Max said, I just want to jump on and say that although I don't make cheese, I find your videos awesome. Thanks, Max. Appreciate it, mate. Where are we? From Algeria. Radouani. No, I hope I said that right. What is the best way to, if you accelerate ripening for a short time? I would leave. Look, accelerate ripening. You can't. See, the thing with cheese is it takes as long as it takes. If you want to accelerate the ripening, Don't you worry about that. All you have to do is leave it out of the cheese cave at 30 degrees Celsius. It'll ripen quick enough, and it'll taste terrible. Cheese needs to be ripened at the temperature it needs to be ripened at for the time period it needs to ripen at. There are no shortcuts with cheese. You can make cheeses that ripen quickly, like, for instance, as I harp on it, is Caerphilly. 3 weeks. It's beautiful. It's got a nice rind on the outside, creamy paste, quite salty, but nice. And even some of the bloomy rind cheeses like Camembert and Brie only take 4 weeks to mature. So if you're looking for quick cheeses to eat, then make some of the quick maturing cheeses. You can't accelerate the ripening. So I hope that answers the question. Gabby, um, hello from Guatemala in Central America. Yes, check out that Petite Bleu. It's quite a good little recipe. Oh, Kim's having a field day here. All right, what questions can you discuss important turning cheese in the cup? Yeah, so when you turn the cheese every week, if you're maturing it, it distributes the fats and the moisture in the cheese evenly throughout. What happens if you don't is sometimes they'll collect on the bottom if you forget for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Mind you, I've done it before. And sometimes it can make the cheese bitter. So it's best if you turn it every week. And that way the fat distribution in the cheese works very well. Where are we? What is the oldest cheddar you have made? I can't get past 6 months. Well, I've got one that I'm going to crack open this weekend for this weekend's video. Is my original cheddar I first made, the cloth bander one, and that's going to be 12 months old, or just over 12 months old, I think. So yeah, it'll be sharp. What are those cheeses flavored using clover? I haven't heard of them, Bob. If you've got a name, I can look it up later. Cheese with vinegar. Yes, you can make cheese with vinegar. It's called ricotta or ricotta salata. Have you travelled overseas and tried cheese in other countries? Phil, yes, I have. Back when I was a young lad, I travelled around Europe for about 5 weeks and sampled lots of local cheeses. Even had Gruyere in Switzerland. It's very nice. A lot of French cheeses. Even tried Roquefort. It was delicious. In England, we had traditional cheddar. I went to Somerset and we went to the town of Cheddar and tried cheese. Oh, it's just fantastic. So, yes, Phil, I've been around a bit. In the Navy, I think I clocked up 44 countries. And look, cheese wasn't a passion back then, but I did like eating it. So, I would like to travel again, but there's so many artisan cheesemakers here in Australia now. So I'd like to travel around with Kim and go and check out some of the cheeses that these artisan cheesemakers make. There's a great little dairy up the road called Meredith Dairies, and they just make pure goat's milk cheese. There's a couple in the goldfield areas of Victoria, and yeah, they all make some great cheeses. Any recommendations for cheese with nuts? Yeah, I've seen a lot of soft cheeses that have been rolled in nuts and stuff. Or are you talking about cheese made with nuts? If you make cheese with nuts, it's vegan cheese, which I will be covering soon. How big are your cheese molds for 8 and 10 litre recipes? Kim, if you can just pop up the link, I know you're actively banning everybody there, but can you pop up the link for the 165 ml cheese basket? And that'll answer that question. That's the best one I use. It's got all the dimensions on the page. Captain Spaulding asks, what's between white and orange cheddar? The only difference is the amount of annatto. Annatto is it's a berry from a bush in South America. I can't remember the Latin name for it, but it creates an orange color when it's squished and put with water. And the annatto is what colors cheese. You'll see just about every cheddar you buy in the shop has annatto in it. They put it in such minute amounts that they actually don't have to. Oh, pardon me. They don't have to list it on the ingredients. Sapsago is the clover cheese. I'll have to look that up. Sapsago, cool. Um, Thanks, Bob. How often do these live? Mickey D, every Wednesday at I think it's 1500 Pacific time. In Australia, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, Melbourne time or East Coast time. And in the UK, I think it's 11 p.m. So I'm trying to get a good coverage of Europe and the Americas and Australia and Asia. So this is the best time I could find. So yeah, Wednesday mornings, 8 o'clock. I'm trying to make them regular as we can. Um, Thanks, Kim, for that link. Do you bother measuring the pH? Wobbly Bob, no, I don't get that technical. Only when I'm making pasta filata cheeses, I will measure the pH because you need to know when it's between, 5.3 and 5 pH, how acidic it is, before you can stretch it. It's the only time I use, and I use pH paper, I don't use a meter. Um, from Algeria, what's the best way if there's any to, I've already answered that question. You don't accelerate anything, just let it do what it does. The shortest time of ripening, I've already answered that too. Um, have you made any cheesecake? Yes. Make cream cheese and then use it to make cheesecake. It is amazing. Better than that Philadelphia cream cheese, I'll say it. That is, buddy, just an emulsion of, it's terrible. Some people may think it tastes okay. It's in that silver foil stuff, made by Kraft. It's terrible. Make your own cream cheese. It is amazing. There's a recipe somewhere in the videos. Check it out. Um, Beetlejuice. Hello from Canada. How are you, mate? I've made cheese with goat's milk and it's a bit creamy, thick paste and very rich. Yes, it is because goat's milk has lipase naturally in it. How much cheese would you say you eat per week? Not very much. It may look by this belly, you can't really see it at the moment, that I eat a lot of cheese, but I don't. We're lucky if we have cheese twice a week, just as a supper, and the cheese tasting video. Whatever cheese I've cracked open that week, we eat it then. Maybe we could start at 7:30 a.m. Oh goodness me, Kim! How early do you want me to get out of bed, love? Um, Having a hard time finding whole milk here in Ontario. You shouldn't have too much trouble. So whole milk, as long as it's 3.25% and over, up to about 4.2% fat, you'll be able to make the cheese that I make in the cheese recipes. Um, Captain Nibley, so I can't help notice you're a left thinking guy. Is there any connection between creative with being creative? And that might explain. Maybe I am a lefty, left-handed. Um, Maybe. No, I don't know. A lot of right-handed cheesemakers. I don't know. Weird question, but thanks. Um, what is the cost of making your own cheese? Go and check out a cheese making video saying, is cheese making worth it? Have a look in my back catalogue and you will see that I do a stripped down comparison of store bought cheddar and the cheddar that I made, the cloth banded cheddar. And you'll find it quite enlightening. It is cheaper. What's my favourite cheese? I don't. All cheese is good. Um, I like being surprised by the different flavours and textures that I create and that I can buy. So, some of our local supermarkets now are lifting their games as far as getting in good cheese. So that's always good. How long would you drain cream cheese to make cheesecake? I think it's about 12 hours that I normally drain it for, and it's certainly the right consistency for making a cheesecake. I would love to make jalapeno poppers with homemade cream cheese. That'll work. Um, yeah, that'd be very nice. Be able to pipe the cream into the peppers as well. Carl, I just found your channel and starting to make cheese. There's some easy ones to recommend. Yes, Carl, go and have a look at there's a video I did not so long ago, and it was all about cheeses to start with. Basically, it was titled Beginner's Cheese Making Without a Cheese Cave, something like that. NKY homesteading, my cost is about $3 a pound. So what's that? $3 for 500 grams or 450 grams, roughly. That's cheap, honestly, for really good homemade cheese. Thanks, Kim, for that link. Well done. What is the part of the cheese making process that has the effect on the taste of the cheese? Look, it depends, Travis. Depends on which type of cheese you're making. So if you talk about hard cheeses, then it's how long you acidify the milk for before you add the rennet. That's one factor. The type of culture you add, that's another factor, and how long you mature it for. The texture of the cheese is determined by what you do to it between cutting the curd and then pressing it and how much you press it for. But the flavour is basically those three points. Do you like sheep's cheese? Yes, I have. I do like manchego. It is delicious. It's not that hard. It is hard to get sheep's milk. Jeff from upstate New York. That'll be near the Canadian border, I would guess. My first try at Parmesan, 11 months. Great. Follow Romano. Thank you very much. I try to be the best cheese web resource on the web, by video anyway. There are a lot of good websites out there. What's your opinion of Baby Bell? Is actually a real cheese. It's actually a proper cheddar. So I don't have any issues with Baby Bell, except maybe they're too small and you're wasting all that wax all the time. String cheese cheese strings are basically mozzarella, so they're actually made the proper mozzarella way, so they're okay. But Cheese Whiz is an abomination. So that's my thoughts on that. Okay, Kim, thank you for that link. What do you eat with cottage cheese? Look, normally I can put in, we put in sweet chili sauce is nice with cottage cheese, or just some herbs, chives, a little bit of garlic. That's always good. In regards to a cheese cave, would you go for a wine fridge or a bar fridge with a modified temperature? Look, it depends on your climate. If you've got a hot climate in summer, avoid the wine fridge because it doesn't keep cool enough. If you live in a very temperate climate, then you could probably go for a wine fridge. But yeah, I had a wine fridge to start with, and in summer it just got too hot. It got up to about 20 degrees, and all the cheese started to sweat, and I couldn't keep it cool. So I had to swap to a bar fridge that was modified with a thermostat, which I do have some for those Australian and New Zealanders, if there's any online. Just email me and we work something out. He's got to get to bed. Sun Arrow, well, have a good sleep, mate. Seth, what's your opinion on cheese tray for defeating what? Sounds like a game thing. Have you gone to many different countries to try cheese? Not specifically to try cheese. I had no choice in the Navy. You kind of go where they tell you to go. But yeah, wherever there was nice cheese, I did try some. But I wasn't a cheese fanatic back then. Asman, I love the videos. Try to watch them all. Thanks, mate. Better than a book, I know. Andy, my Havarti's 3 weeks old in wax. I noticed that it was ballooning. Ooh. Yeah, that's not good. Mine kind of did that a little bit. I punctured the wax, let the gas out, but did not smell bad. Yeah, look, sometimes it does. It's the washing that does it. It creates, it could be extra bacteria. So what you have to do, you actually have to boil the water first and then bring it down to temperature. I found that out the hard way when my Edam did the same thing. It kind of blew up like a balloon. So try that, Andy. Do you have any plans on making Gorgonzola? Yeah, it's a funny one, Gorgonzola, because you're supposed to use the morning milk and the evening milk, and it's supposed to be raw. So it's hard to get your hands on that sort of stuff unless you've got a cow or a goat. But Travis, it would be good if I could get that sort of stuff. Um, Squadge, Queensland. Yeah, nice and hot up there. You need a fridge. White Stilton. Is there a starter culture? Just a normal mesophilic for a white Stilton. Just follow the Stilton recipe and don't put in the blue culture and just follow it exactly the same. It's very nice. It's just a cheese. And it's quite soft, but it's very creamy. And before you put it into the mold, before flipping it, put in some chopped up diced fruit or something like that. Very nice. Dried, of course, not normal fruit. Um, that drone guy, I love your channel, mate. Exciting to be on a cheese journey. Well done, mate. I'll have a fermentation fridge. Yeah, that'll work perfectly. I'm in Perth. Oh, Kitty Cat, you are a dedicated curd nerd. Well done. I know Perth is even further. It's not 7 a.m. Yes. God, goodness me. Well done. Oh, just looking at the time, we've got 9 minutes to go, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Ayrton. I like being an idol. It's lovely. Have you tried donkey cheese? Look, I know you can milk a donkey, but no, I haven't tried donkey cheese. And I'd like to try reindeer cheese, but that's very expensive as well. I love champignon brie, but it's reluctant, simply mushrooms in a cheese. Look, I don't quite know how they do it, Dustin. I've seen it, I've smelt it, but I've never bought it. Um, I think they use a fine mushroom powder. I don't, which is dried porcini mushrooms, and they would crush them into a powder, and they would add the powder to the milk to get that mushroomy flavour. Um, I don't think they have mushroom bits in it. I'm not sure. Not the ones I saw anyway. Um, do you listen to music while you're Yes, I do. I pop on Pandora and put on my favourite channel, whichever one I made, and then listen to music. Used to drink red wine with it, but because of the headaches, I can't drink red wine anymore. So it was good on a Friday night after work, relaxing. Some of the cheeses went past midnight, but didn't matter. It was just good fun. Sit there. Depends on how long you had to stir the pot for, of course. But yeah, it's all good fun when you do that. Pardon me. What kind of music? Well, I was an '80s kid, so '80s music, kind of what I like. Um, our well water is very mineral, leaves residues, sterilising. Yes, look, you're going to have to filter it, Saint Rain. Bit of an issue there. So hard water is difficult to make cheese with because of the high calcium in it. Uh, probably cheese probably would welcome it and set a better curd, but sometimes there's a sulfur smell and that sort of stuff as well. So you're gonna have to filter it with a charcoal filter. Um, so that's probably the best suggestion. Have you ever tried vegan cheeses? Yes, I do like them, Vicky. Especially the cashew ones. There's actually a great um, on Facebook. Go and look for what's it called? Cashew Bert. Yeah, Cashew Bert is actually they make Camembert out of cashew nuts. I tell you what, it looks pretty good. It's in Germany. I think they come out of Germany. But Cashew Bert, have a check of that on Facebook and you'll be surprised. Best dish to Gorgonzola. Oh, look, anything with blue. It makes a beautiful blue cheese sauce. But look, on a cheese platter itself, it's delicious as well. What's the most expensive cheese I've eaten? Look, any bloody cheese from sorry, any bloody cheese from overseas is expensive here in Australia. So yeah, there. I bought a 2-year-old cheddar, I think, and that was very expensive from the Somerset area. But yeah, the best cheeses based on taste per cost per time. I'd have to work that out. That's a complicated formula. Um, Look, it depends on your palate. Honestly, cheeses vary from person to person. We're down to 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Float around the way. It'd probably be milk artin. Um, Quick acid, pretty limited to mozzarella and ricotta. Other variations. Yeah, look, paneer bob is a good one. Acid set. There's a few. Grab a good cheese making book, and you'll see that there's quite a few acid set cheeses. Joy, thank you very much for watching the show. If you're the same Joy that I know, it was a lovely email that you sent through as well about your cheese making journey. Fantastic. And all because you started watching the channel earlier on this year. Now, before I head off, ladies and gentlemen, we've got 4 minutes to go. Just a few things. People have been asking me how to support me. I know that a lot of people are overseas, as I can tell from the chat anyway. And I know that a lot of people like to reach out, buy products from my shop, littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Well, it's Kim and my shop, by the way, not just mine. So, and they buy products, but the shipping's quite expensive. One of the things you can do to support me and my work on this cheeseman.tv channel is either via Patreon. You can put in a monthly donation as little as $1 US a month, and that all adds up, and that helps me buy certain pieces of equipment, especially for things. I had to buy a new camera for this live chat. That's why you can see the quality's quite good, and stuff like that. And also, you can, during these live chats, there's a thing called Super Chat. If you can see, I can't show you on the screen, but there's a little dollar symbol just under where you type your thing. And if you click that, you can send a Super Chat. And what that does, I get a portion of that. I think it's about 75% of it. YouTube gets the other 25%, but I get 75% of whatever you donate there. And you can do a donation there via Super Chat. That's pretty cool. And if you want to get notified of these a while before of these live shows on Wednesday mornings, I'm going to try and make them at Kim says move it forward to 7:30 our time, so I'll be struggling out of bed on Wednesday morning. But yeah, subscribe to the channel. So if you subscribe, you'll get a notice if you get notification. But don't forget, when you subscribe, there's a little bell next to it. Press that as well. So it's like a double subscribe. It's real weird. And you will then be notified beforehand of when the show goes live or when any video gets published. So check that out. That'll be pretty cool if you could do that. And lastly but not leastly, another form of support that you could do is, if you haven't already, is buy my ebook, which knows no borders at all. You can buy the ebook from littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Just pop onto the cheese books section. You can buy the ebook, and you'll get that straight away. There's a download link once you purchase it. It's only $14.20 Australian. It's nothing. I don't know what that is in US. I think it's about $10 US. And yeah, you get lots of recipes, lots of pictures, lots of links to the videos that have the recipes. So I've used YouTube links in there. So you can click through, and once you've read the recipe, you can go and have a look at the video. So that's pretty cool as well. Action Buff, thank you very much for that super chat. Keep on rocking. I love it. 80s hits. ABBA was a big one when I was a kid in the 70s, but yeah, they're okay. So there's some other ways that you can support the channel. As I said, don't forget to subscribe. That's fantastic. And thanks to the lovely Kim for moderating today. It's taken a lot of pressure off me. It's in PDF, but you can actually buy the book, Captain Nibley. The book will work with the Kindle app because you can buy it at the Amazon store. So go to the Amazon store, look for Keep Calm and Make Cheese by Gavin Weber. And I get a lesser of a cut, but Amazon get a bit more. But I still get some money from that. And if you've got a iOS device, an Apple device, you can buy it through the Apple iBook store. So that's pretty cool. So check that out. And yeah, so all major iBook stores or ebook stores, ebook stores, you can pick it up. So share the love. If you know anybody who thinks about making cheese, point them to the channel. Send them my way so they can learn about making cheese at home the easy way. Okay, so cool. And some people have got my book already, and other people are saying they're going to buy it. Thank you very much. That's it. We're at the top of the hour, ladies and gentlemen. We only go for an hour. It's fantastic. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I've still got 60 people watching after an hour, so I think that's fantastic. All right. Thanks, Curd Nerds, for joining me on this live chat, and hopefully I've answered all your questions to your satisfaction. And we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. If not, I'll shoot something out via the many Facebook pages and all that sort of stuff. It's pretty hard to via YouTube because there's no interaction otherwise. But I will schedule the live chat for whatever time Kim decides to set it at, and we'll go from there. And you'll see, if you go to the live page, then you'll see there'll be a recommended. Anyway, thanks very much, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye, Curd Nerds. Keep on rocking. Keep making that cheese. I'll stop when you stop.